Let's get this party started, folks. I'm going to say hello to our YouTubers, and then we'll get going here in a minute. Come on in. The party's in here. All right, how about I say hello to these folks? Hello out there in YouTube land. We appreciate you being with us. Thank you again for tuning in on this YouTube channel at Unity of Flagstaff. I am Reverend Penni, as most of you know. And those who don't, please check out what we're all about at www.unityofflagstaff.org. And share this link, won't you? We love having people looking in and sharing their Sunday mornings with us, so thank you. And remember, you can, in fact, continue to support this community by going to our donate page, and we appreciate that, too. So today, we're going to talk about it's a fine line, and it is. So many places in our lives, so let's take a look at that. We are appreciative of the music by Devlin today, and we thank you for being with us. Namaste. Good morning. Welcome. As you are comfortable, please stand and join Mr. Devlin in this opening song. Let's get right. As you're comfortable, here we go. This is a Devlin original.
Let's get right. Push our fears to the side. Let's get real. Let's get right. Push our fears to the side. Get right. Get real. Get right. Realize our life. Let's get real. Let's get right. Push our fears to the side. Let's get real. Let's get right. Recognize our own light. Get right. Get real. Get right. Realize our life. Sometimes fear, it's like a ball and chain. Keeps us in our place. But if we take a leap of faith, it carries us away. Let's get real, let's get right. Push our fears to the side. Let's get real, let's get right. Recognize our own light. Get right, get real, get right. Realize our life. Realize our life. Sometimes we get too low, sometimes get too high. But if we can see the road right before our eyes, let's get real, let's get right. Push our fears to the side. Let's get real, let's get right. Recognize our own light. Get right, get real, get right. Realize our lives, realize our lives. Let's get real, let's get right. Push our fears to the side. Let's get real, let's get right. Recognize our own light. Get right, get real, get right. Realize our life, realize our life. Let's realize our life.
And say good morning. that flip of the light was intentional, but I said, Betsy says, yeah, that's like at the theater. And I said, oh, you don't mean that's last call? I was afraid you'd all leave. Good morning. I'm Reverend Penni Honey. Thanks for being with us. Come on. Good morning. I'm Reverend Penni Honey. Thanks for being there. We go. Are you guys awake? Are we awake yet? All right. Hey, I just want to take a moment before I get into my little, opening routine, right? I want to say thank you. See this picture of folks? I don't know how well you can see that. Can you see it pretty well? It's a little light, I suppose. But I want to thank everybody that donated clothing to our clothing drive. Round of applause. Check this out. Almost 800 pounds. Almost 800 pounds of clothing this place put together. Round of applause. Yeah. And thank you to Miss Sandra McFarland for being our lead on that. We appreciate that. And our Party On team. Woohoo! All right. And we did have a little contest going, remember? All right. So, interestingly enough, the two people that came in the closest, one was way low and one was pretty high. And so Trina won the chance. Yay, Trina! Trina! And I'll let you know how much that is once I get the numbers from Savers. So thank you for playing. We appreciate it. I know. And it just happens to be, can I say that out loud? It just happens to be Trina's birthday today.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
That wasn't overly discreet, but I did. But I did want to ask. Hey, thanks again for being in the room with us. One of the things that we say here at Unity of Flagstaff is all are welcome. Now, I've noticed I see that on a lot of things. I see that slogan on a lot of things. What I want to say to you about this community is it's not a slogan. It's a principle. All are welcome. And we mean it. We mean that with all of our hearts. So if you're here for the first time and you got one of those cool little blue cards, please fill it out and drop it in the bucket. And if you have been here more than one time, raise your hand. Welcome back, right? Oh, yeah, me too. So thank you. And there is a little bucket out there, some blank pieces of paper that invite you into, I'm looking for recommendations. I'm looking for comments. And they don't all have to be good. It'd be nice. But this is how we grow. This is how we expand. And that's what we've been talking about, only forever. And so I would now like to invite Suzanne Frost up, of course, our poet laureate for Unity of Flagstaff. Come on up here, Suzanne. Thank you. She has composed a piece of poetry for today's message, and it is entitled A Fine Line. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to read again. Much appreciated. Gets me off my duff and gets me writing again every time. Very much appreciate that. Also, I did leave posters on the monthly poetry reading that we put on here. It's an open mic, and it's also, we definitely invite musicians as well. So, and then this week we have artists coming from a local co-op of artists, and they're going to come. There's 3 artists coming to show their work and talk about it, and they'll be part of the list that we have every. We ask people to sign up on a list when they walk in the door, and they'll put their names as well, and so we'll just get in a little even more added inspiration to do our art, and we hope you can make it this Friday at 7:15. Sandra is going to be leading it this time. Thank you, Sandra. A Fine Line. This was inspired, and there are quotes, sometimes slightly altered in this poem, from a prominent yogi master's recent talk that I heard, and Penni Honey. Overboard again, a tipping point into the opposite. Help, then disempowerment, spoken truth, then sabotage. Oh, it's that old tape again. At least in this tiny, white, and 1/4 Hispanic poets' diaspora. Mixed blood can be the hardest road. Though so many new champions, including our vice president, have surmounted the glass ceiling lately with grace, inspiration, and competency. Words are the most brutal attack. They may never heal, sometimes hard to stop. The only thing to be done, since they're irreversible. But where is my part in this ever-repeating drama? I guess I don't look the part again somehow. Abandonment. Is it time to move again? With complete humility, prayer and meditation succeed. All is well. Let's dream big and bigger for one another, ourselves, and all life. Work hard and love. Be calmly active and actively calm. Unite, forgive, and not waste time. Physical work, if we can, is good for us. Let's give more than take and receive to achieve. Our gigantic dreams are the future. A drop makes a difference.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you. Aren't we blessed, right? We are surrounded by brilliance and talent. We inspire this in each other. Take a breath. So we stand in an awareness that the teachings of unity are founded on prayer. So we rest now into that place of knowing. We allow ourselves to connect and remember, to express, and to feel the joy of life in these moments, this opportunity to come together. It is for this that we are grateful. And so it is, and so we let it be. Thank you. Doesn't this look a lot like us? I really tried to find hats like that because it is Celebration Sunday. I don't want to miss the opportunity to remind you that we're here to also support you in prayer. Possibly it's something that's heavy on your heart. And maybe it is something you're celebrating. Prayer works. We see it in this community all the time. We hear it in this room all the time. And that's a lot to celebrate. We have prayer partners here today that will support you in prayer. Look around. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being of service. And know that you can always dial 1-800-NOW-PRAY. You can drop your prayers in that prayer box over there. You can call me right here at the center. What do you need? We're here to support you and to celebrate with you, which is what we're going to do now. All right. It is Celebration Sunday, and we are grateful, and we do celebrate. Thank you to our Board of Trustees. Our board members that are serving, would you please stand? Because we want to celebrate you, and thank you. Thank you. And our calendar sponsor, I know you guys probably don't know him because he's so quiet. He's number one. We got Michael Farrell in the house. He sponsored September, and I know it's a big surprise, but there's actually a picture of an animal. So our calendar, of course, is hanging back there on the wall, so if you get a chance to take a look at that, do that. Also, just a little reminder, this is our largest fundraiser in the community, is our calendar, and we're starting that process up. We're going to start seeing that opportunity to sponsor a month, to be the sponsor of the calendar overall, as Gary Robbins has been for the last 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, thank you for that, Gary. Yes, Gary Robbins Family Law. So you'll have the opportunity. You can also have birthdays on the days of the birthdays. Like today, you'll see Trina Getz's name on there, right? All right, so celebrate the people in your life. Buy a birthday. Support Unity of Flagstaff. Okay, the info commercial for that part is over. And now, here we go. Helping Hands project through this quarter. We had a little shift. Okay, we had a short little conversation here, and I just want to be very transparent about that. There was a group, a nonprofit group here in town that we were looking to support through our Helping Hands. With a little further investigation, we found out that wasn't a fit. It wasn't a fit for them, and it wasn't a fit for us. So, like Charles Fillmore says, I reserve the right to change my mind. And we did. And we shifted to Tinkertopia, which is Flagstaff's STEAM Education Center. We're really excited about this. And so we are supporting, they are a nonprofit here in town. And it's really cool. This amazing, brilliant woman teaches STEAM, of course, being science, technology, engineering. Here we go. It is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. There you go. And this impacts, of course, the young people in our community, and we're grateful for her good work. So remember, the more you give, the more we give. And I want to let you know we are back on track for our mid-year financial projections. And copies of the July financials are on the literature table right over here. So take a peek. Yeah, right. Yeah, please. Thank you for that. Because, yeah, we were kind of, just had a little tiny dip in the road. We had to dig ourselves out of it, and we did it. So there you go. All right. I am your PA today. Lucky you. All right. Where's that other microphone? We can make sure that Dave has it. Thank you for that. I also want to acknowledge we have a new greeter in the house. Hello, Marilyn. Thank you for volunteering. We had an incredible, we had an incredible greeters meeting. I think I counted, what, 17? Did we have 17 people, I think, step up? And now they just sign up, and now they show up. And you know what's guaranteed in that job? Lots of hugs. Lots of hugs. So thank you for that. We are grateful. This is the time where we share our gratitudes, our prayer requests, and our celebrations, my friends. So we, as you know, we pass the microphone around. I want to remind you that God knows the details and that we are affirming with you. When you speak it already puts it into motion. All right? So you're already doing it. All right, right here.
Hello, thank you. Well, Wednesday's my birthday. And it's a milestone birthday where I may actually start claiming the senior discount. But also it's a milestone, and it's actually related to 2 weeks ago I put a written prayer in the silent prayer box, and that week was kind of frustrating. Of the week of me being kind of impatient and frustrated, but then I got some really good news. That Thursday afternoon I got an offer of employment with DNA to be the managing attorney of their Hopi civil office. I'll be based in Flagstaff, but going up to the Hopi reservation once or twice a week. And then the next day, the 23rd, I started my early retirement process with the Navajo Nation.
We are celebrating you. I hear that prayer box over there is magical. And those prayers, of course, are held by our prayer team for 30 days, and they are sent into Silent Unity, where they're held in prayer also. I just want to acknowledge it is by your faith that these works happen. You've done your due diligence, you've stayed aware, and you prayed. And you asked for support around that. That's a winning combination right there. Congratulations. We celebrate with you. All right, I got one over here.
Well, this is the third time in 13 years I've made this announcement. I have an opening at my office for an assistant immediately. And 2 of my last 3 people who worked for me for the last 13 years, came from this body. So computer skills are essential, and a happy disposition, and a willingness to be supportive of a quirky boss.
And so it is. Yeah, I did work in Gary's office when I first arrived here. And Gary, what we know is it is unfolding perfectly, right? We just take a breath, right? We see it done. And in the speaking, we have already activated the universe working in your favor. It's already done. All right.
Well, this is really apparently the week for birthdays because Tuesday is my sweet Billy's birthday. And so we've been married 48 years. Yeah. I was 18, and Bill was 26. And that summer that we were married, he turned 27. And all I could think was, oh, my God, I'll never be that old. Hey, and guess what? I'm not that old.
Happy birthday, Bill, and congratulations. How many years? Wow. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to process that a little bit. So, wow. Okay. Yeah, that just, don't you think another rose? That's all. Yeah. Ring the gong. But not 48 times. Okay. So here. There you go. I love it. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yes, Daniel.
Good morning. So glad to be here with you all. Last spring, I announced to the group that by God's grace, I was able to purchase some property out towards New Mexico. And I'm bringing it up again because I would love anybody that wants to use that space, even as a group. There's a key out there. I can show you pictures. There's a 40-foot camper on it right now. It's a dry camper still because I'm getting things set up. But the land is amazing. It's full of spiritual energy. I've never seen skies like it anywhere in my life. So please feel free to go out and camp or even use the camper as it's I want God to develop this, the divine spirit, into a blessing for many and not just for me and my closer friends. So please feel free. I can show you pictures and you can go anytime. Just let me know. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Daniel.
Wow.
Is there food in the fridge?
So, as Penny mentioned earlier, I am about 10 minutes away, 11:09 a.m., from being double nickels years old. And I am just super grateful, 55 times around the sun, I am super grateful for my body and all the ways that it just allows me to do everything I want to do and show up in the world the way I want to show up. I mean, aging is fabulous, It certainly beats the alternative, right? I mean, so I'm just grateful that I am doing the things I love doing and my body is letting me do them. So
We're celebrating that, Miss Trina. Thank you. Happy birthday. Yeah. Yes, Miss Dixie.
I would like to thank everyone who has contributed to anything that was on our needs board and remind you that there are some new items on there. So it's located in the back. And thank you for helping fulfill our needs.
Thank you, Dixie. Yeah, and thank you, Dixie, for keeping that running for us. We appreciate it. You know, we took all our disposables out of the budget. That meant no paper towel, no soap, no floor cleaner, no nothing. And you guys have made it happen. Right? Round of applause. And thank you again, Dixie, really, for managing that.
So I just want to say that, again, like last week, we have a ton of announcements outside. So please come and check out all the things that are going on. Trina needs you to decide on what kind of dinner theater theme you would like to have. Penny's offering a class this week. Is it a one-time class or is it?
We're going to talk about that at the class. They're going to tell us. They're going to tell me.
Perfect.
It's spiritual tools for living.
Yes. And my prosperity class is starting in 10 days, so it's almost full. Please come tell me if you still want to have a spot in it. It's exciting. And then on the side towards the wall, we have all the things that are going on in Flagstaff and around Flagstaff. So some events, there's so much. September just seems to be a huge month. So please take some time and go check everything out.
Thank you, Selena. Thank you. Excellent. I think Mr. Allen wants to say something. Do you have to come over here in front of the camera? Okay. You want to give him the microphone? Thank you.
And last Sunday after I left here, I had this thought, and I knew what it was. I appreciate the inclusive state of unity. Thank you all for giving me a part. I'm grateful to use my experience with a clear focus. These things do matter to me. I'm rather unbridled individual, but I feel safe being me here. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
So we're celebrating that with you, and we're especially celebrating the clear part since you're running the camera, right? Yeah. Alan, we're so grateful for you to step into that. He really, it's his niche. And that's what we do here, right? Trust me, I'll keep giving you opportunities to volunteer at things until we find one that fits. And it takes many hands. And I am grateful that it feels safe. And betwixt the two of us, there's probably not a whole lot of tethering between the two of us here, right? You know, the way we buzz around, and we have a room full of people that support us in that. Whoop, see, there's me throwing that on the floor. There you go. Thank you, Ed. Yes, Missy. A big birthday. Woo. Well, you know, Miss Laura, I say dance now. You want to hand that to her for me, please? We are celebrating you, and I have said this to other people, you probably people in this room, but I'm going to say it to you. I am so willing to do 85 like that, right? Be in that light, be in that place. We're grateful you're with us. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Yeah. Yeah, round of applause, 85. Come on, man. Here we go. Did we have someone? Did someone appear? There we go. All right. A family reunion, right? Oh, we're celebrating that it went that way too. Yeah. And that, my dear, has to do with how you were willing to see it and how you wanted to show up there. Yeah. Because you always get to choose. And then you have the experience based on that. I could have used that advice at my last family reunion. All right. Anyone else? Perfect. Thank you. Who needs a flower that didn't get one? If you need one, please help yourself. Juniper, did you have something you wanted to share? No? Okay. Sorry. I thought she wants a flower. Well, of course. You just qualify because you're in the room. It's your dad's. Oh, and we want to say hello. Wait, wave to your dad and Reed because they stayed at home today, didn't they? But they're watching us. Welcome. Hi, Reed. All right. Take a deep breath, my friends. We've heard a lot of good stuff. You can feel the support of this community in the room, can't you? Do you feel that? This is who we are. We are community. We are the expression of spirit. And we release now any concerns or cares or fears, those spoken and unspoken. We infuse our hearts and our minds with the knowing that spirit supports us right where we are. And we see this for all those on our prayer lists, those we hold in our hearts. And we see that for the entirety of humanity. Peace, safety, and comfort. We affirm it is so, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. So, if you will, take a deep breath with me. Would you say this unity principle number 1? There is one presence, one power, the good, active in my life and in the universe. And the short version is, good has it covered. Yes. All right, if you would be kind enough to get the lights in the room for me, please. Matt, I appreciate you doing a little strumming. Let's do a little meditating. You know, that is one of our principles in unity. Prayer and meditation. These are tools. You don't have to be what you consider good at it. You just got to be at it. Just be at it. Be with it. Give yourself time to connect. Allow yourself to remember. So we take a deep breath. We say, thank you, Spirit. We feel the comfort, we feel the joy, and we feel the connection in this room. And we pull that into our hearts. We feel our hearts enfolded in the light and the understanding. We recognize the healing that happens right there. And in this moment, we remember. We remember our oneness. We remember that it is an illusion of separation that brings us angst, the fear of not knowing. And we unfold that in the light. We feel that light in and all around us, holding us. We allow these moments to connect us to a deeper understanding. Breathe, my friends. Breathe the breath of life. Feel the magic of these human bodies. working to support us as we express the divine. And rest now. Rest in the silence. It is in these moments of quiet that we connect and know. And that light and that peace and that connection that we experience, we take that now and we wrap our world. And we see the lives of every living being, knowing their light. Releasing the fear. And it is here that we heal. We give thanks for that. We rest and we celebrate into this knowing. And we give thanks. And so it is, and so we let it be.
So this is not written by me. This is written by me and Penni. In case you don't like it, we'll spread that.
That's his disclaimer.
Next slide, maybe. When I consider my younger self, full of bravado, devoid of the facts, putting up defenses, drawing lines in the sand, saying never to this, nothing to that. And I wonder what I've missed. These lines of love on my face can't be replaced. And these lines of love that we speak help us to see how deep, how far, and how deep we will go. How high and how far, how deep we will go. Is it a choice, or do we already know? It's a fine line, such a fine line. These lines we draw. Let me start that again. Where are we at? Somebody tell me. Where are we up there? Thank you. Sorry, Penni. These lines we draw. All right. I'm going to get my glasses out and figure out. Got it. I know where I am.
It's a fine line,
It's a
Trina,
fine,
that
fine
double
line
needle.
between the light and the dark, the fire and the spark, the head and the heart. And these lines we draw, close and tight, make us feel safe, but then we shut out the light and I wonder where we are. These lines of love on my face can't be replaced. These lines of love that we speak help us to see how high and how far and how deep we will go. How high and how far, how deep we will go. Is it a choice or do we already know? It's a fine line, such a fine line, it's a fine line. These lines of love are meant to connect us, they will surely direct us back to these lines of love. These lines of love on my face can't be replaced. And these lines of love that we speak help us to see how high and how far and how deep we will go. How high and how far and how deep we will go. Is it a choice or do we already know? These lines of love on our face can't be replaced. These lines of love that we speak help us to see how high and how far, how deep we will go. How high and how far, how deep we will go. High and how far, how deep we will go. Is it a choice? We already know how high and how far, how deep we will go. It's a fine line, such a fine line, it's a fine line. These lines of love that we draw. It's a new song, only a couple days old. So.
Matt Devlin.
And Penny Hunt.
Yes, and I was there. Josie can attest to that, that we did. We were working on that song pretty diligently. And, oh, this is in the wrong place. Okay. Okay, so let's just do this. I can fix this. I found this out this morning. Check this out. Oh, yeah. I have the power of the remote. You know, we talked a couple weeks ago about, well, actually, I want to share this with you. Josie, you'll appreciate this. You're a math teacher. Got any math folks in the room? Yes, yeah. You're not my peeps, but I love all of you, so I just need you to know. But I do have a little funny thing to say about that. There's a fine line between a numerator and a denominator, and only a fraction of you will get that in this room.
That's a Michael joke.
That's a bad dad joke, actually. Actually, I didn't get it from Michael, but that's what it was actually called, was a bad dad joke. Yeah. Last week, you know, we talked about what's your line. And where do you draw the lines? And do they keep you in? Do they expand you? The week before that, we talked about the all. And the reason we talked about what is your line, where are you drawing the lines in your life, was so that you would be aware that you're doing it. Because we kind of wander around thinking we're not doing that. But we are. And of course, as we talked about those lines that we draw, I talked about them being in pencil and not permanent marker. We also talked about Charles Fillmore saying, I reserve the right to change my mind. After all, like I mentioned, that is what New Thought's about. Let's get a new one, right? We also talked about the fact that we only use 5% of our brain consciously. And 95% of it is running on the subconscious and the stories and the experiences. We really only consciously check in about 5% of the day and are conscious and present. I know. I know. Yeah. And then, I did ask the question, why is this important? I actually do ask that question as I'm working through some of these, all of these messages actually. Why is this important? And the only reason that this is important and why we care about these lines that we draw is so that we can see how we arrive at those lines and where we're drawing them. And if we're willing to change our minds. It's not always safe to change your mind, it seems. And a lot of us have had that experience, haven't we? My dad was a very opinionated man. And he used to say, if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. Now, that's not as sad as it might feel. Everybody take a breath. Because, a lot of times I had opinions that made absolutely no sense at all. I didn't always agree with him. I rarely agreed with him. But what I did know is this, in his way and in my way, we were both looking the same direction, and that was for me to be my greatest self. He might have just had a different opinion of what that was going to look like. That's all. Sometimes it's scary to draw those lines, isn't it? And this inspired today's message. I find that kind of egotistical that my own message inspired my own message. So I sat with that for a while. And it is a fine line, isn't it? Between ego and, oh, I got a message. I see it. I saw a sign. There's a fine line there. Right? Life is like a balance beam. And having been a gymnast for many years, and that being the gymnastic expression I chose, the balance beam, I, of course, love what we see in the Olympics, and I love watching kids in gymnastics classes, and I love watching people learn how to work that balance beam. And even when we find balance, the trick is that we need to stay aware that we're in balance. I like to remind myself that I'm always one thought away from their side. I'm always one soundbite away from a different opinion. If I am not paying attention and being aware of where I'm drawing my lines. And to remember that as humans with these incredible brains, and they're still more powerful than our phones, and the cool thing about our brains is I don't lose them 3 times a day. Right? The cool thing about this brain that we have, they're faster and they're smarter and they're stronger, and they have the capacity for infinite thought and creativity and solution. They do. And I can think right out of my limits. I can think myself right out of the things that I think are keeping me from being my greatest self. That's the power of our thought. And I can find that fine line of balance. Did I just step from one untruth to the next? That's a thought to ask about that thought I just had. Am I too attached to this that I can't even see another way? Have I narrowed the scope of who I am because I have an opinion? It's a fine, fine line. And we walk it all the time. Do any of you have any fine lines in your life? Anything that you run right along the edge on? Or does this just all sound like a bunch of noise? So I'm going to give you some examples that, because I said I was going to talk about a fine line, jumped into my week this week. That's the way the universe supports me. It's a fine line between discernment and judgment. It's a fine line between owning and knowing my divinity and being self-righteous. It's a fine, fine line between being prejudiced and not. And it's a fine, fine line to know what broken is and to experience healing. It's a fine line. Those are the ones I'm talking about today. Now I'm going to ask again, you got any in your life? Yeah. I love this quote by Oscar Levant. He says this, there's a fine line between genius and insanity. And he says, I have erased this line. You know, every side of every issue, every belief, every boundary that you have, every thought that you hold, it is here on that fine line. That is when we truly start to know what compassion is. That's when we start to know what empathy is. When we start to realize that we are not even a centimeter from being in center. And that we can step off that balance beam over and over and over. And it's a fine line to find the strength in our lives to either get ourselves back up on that beam or to stay on it. It's these fine lines that we can see our own humanity and the fragility of that. It's a fine line as we mirror that fragility back to the people around us. And it's easy to not feel safe in those moments. But as we stand there on that balance beam, we find that it is the core strength of who we are that will keep us from crossing those fine lines. Every gymnast that's ever done a balance beam will tell you this. It's not about your arms and it's not about your legs. It's about your core. The physical strength of the core of who they are as gymnasts is what keeps them on that beam. It's your core strength. It's your spiritual core strength that helps us navigate these fine lines in our lives. It's our core strength. It's the most of the work has to be at the core of who we are. In fact, I don't know if there's any place else we should be doing our spiritual and personal work except at the core of who we are. And that's not selfish. That's you getting clear and straight and strong within yourselves so that we're ready for the sound bites and the opinions and the pundits and the disagreements. That's how we stay in the core of who we are. After all, we're not talking about eliminating anything that we've experienced in the past. We're not talking about ignoring that and just staying in our core. We're talking about bringing all of that into the moment and allowing that to be greater than the sum of the parts. This is where we find our strength. We take all that we have experienced and everything that's ever felt disconnected and everything that feels like it needs to be healed, and we bring it to the core strength of who we are, and we find ourselves able to navigate those fine lines in life, and we find it safe to be honest with ourselves about them. Are you being discerning, Penni, or are you being judgmental? Are you being loving, Penni, or are you just being a control freak? Really? I'll show you how to live your life. Here, let me take that for you. It's a fine line. It's a fine line being helpful or codependent. It's a fine line in our lives. And it is our core strength that gives us the opportunity to review that and to see that and to change our minds when it's appropriate. The reason that core strength in gymnastics and in your spiritual life is so important is because this. It gives you stability and control. We all want control. Well, get some of that. Get strong within the core of who you are. You want to control the world? Right there is a good place to start. And what will happen in that recognizing of your core strength is you don't need to control the world. What you need to do is navigate that fine line and be present to that in your life. And core strength in gymnastics and in every other sport, they will tell you that that's where you get an explosive power. That's what core strength gives you. Welcome to life. All those events and all those experiences and that core strength that you pull in through study and prayer and meditation and all those things we talk about all the time. Finding your expression, that is an explosive power that will not only keep you on that fine line, but make a difference in the world. And it's precision. That's what core strength gives us, precision. That's how they land on that 4-inch wide beam as they throw their bodies through the air. That's how they are able to take off running in less than 15 feet, the length of those balance beams, and do what they do. And sometimes it doesn't look like we have the time or the runway long enough or the strength to do what we are asked to do in our lives. And I am here to tell you, you've got it. God as you is great and strong. And when we keep remembering to pull that into our consciousness and own that and take it for the power that it is, your core strength will shine. And when you're walking those fine lines, keep asking, is this honest or is this hurtful? Keep asking, is this helpful or is this codependent? Is this joy or is this me imposing a feeling I want everybody else to have? I have to ask that question all the time. It's a fine line, folks. I was born a cheerleader. It's a fine line to know how authentic that is sometimes. I've had people in this room stand at that door and say, I just didn't think you were real. I said, hang around, because I'll probably say something you won't like. It's a fine line. And because we are strong at the core of who we are, because we're doing our work, because we are committed to being the greatest expression that we're called into, we can get this done. Now, there's this phenomenon that happens in gymnastics, and I think we all may, if you followed the Olympics at all, you may have heard this. It's called the twisties. The twisties, they call it. The twisties is a dangerous phenomenon that happens when a gymnast loses the sense of their body while they're in the air. It makes for a really tough landing. Anybody ever had the twisties in your life? Where it was really a hard landing? Because we, as Simone Biles said, I love this, she says, it's like you're lost in the air. And when these twisties come into our lives, when we have things that twist us up, and don't tell me you don't, because I know you do, and if you don't have enough, I've got some I'm willing to give out. When these twisties come into our life, that is when the core strength of who we are will pull us back, will ground us into knowing who we are. And when we see that in ourselves, we start to see it in the people around us. Now, I've decided with all this core work, you guys get a credit for a Pilates class today. And that spiritual core strength comes from exactly what we teach in our principles. It's prayer and meditation. And it's just like the athletes. It's a daily practice. It's a daily practice. If you don't like the one you're looking at, go find another one. Find a practice that causes you to tie into the core strength of who you are and reminds you of that capacity and that knowing. Find that practice. And mindfulness. It's about being in the moment. I know everybody says that. I know. But it really is. And again, I say to you, I'm not asking you to leave all that life experience and those hurtful things and act like those didn't happen. What I'm saying to you is bring them into the now moment so they can be healed. Allow them to be part of that core strength of who you are. Make them earn their stay. They came to bless you. Bring them in. Wrap them up. Be with them. Cause them to motivate you and move you through and be able to navigate those fine lines in your life. I love what Ernest Holmes says. Life is a mirror, and it will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into. It will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into. And I will tell you this, those athletes that are standing on that 4-inch beam, they are in no place but the now moment. And they will tell you in interviews the moment they stepped out of the now moment, they fell off the beam. You want to navigate the fine lines in your life, stay right here. Right here in this moment, and allow yourself to tap the core strength of who you are, and connecting and serving and staying connected to the divine nature of who you are. This is how we build core strength. Coming to places like this and loving each other and asking for prayer and celebrating. This is how we build core strength. This is how we navigate those fine lines in our lives. We reach into the core strength of who we are. And from that song that Matt and I wrote, there's a line. It's a fine, fine line between the light and the dark, the fire and the spark, the head and the heart. It's a fine line. And in asking, we notice the fine lines that we walk, and perhaps by remembering our core strength, having a daily mindful practice, connection, and always moving back to love, we can look at these fine lines in our lives that we are tenderly balancing. And we can proclaim it's not just a fine, fine line. It's a fine, fine line. That's where we're going to live. Namaste.
Penni texted me this morning and asked me to skip the other song and play this one again. And I said, yeah, sure. And then I started thinking, well, what if they didn't like it the first time? So I'm going to try to avoid the twisties and look at the paper here. When I consider my younger self, full of bravado and facts, putting up defenses, drawing lines in the sand, saying never to this, forget about that, and I wonder what I missed. close and tight, thinking we're safe, but now we've let out the light. And I wonder what's the cost. These lines of love on my face can't be replaced. And these lines of love that we speak help us to see how high and how far and how deep we will go. How high and how far, how deep we will go. Is it a choice or do we already know? It's a fine line, such a fine line. If these lines we draw meant to connect us, they will surely direct us back to these lines of love. These lines of love on my face can't be replaced. These lines of love that we speak help us to see how high and how far and how deep we will go. You guys can join me if you like. How high and how far and how deep we will go. How high and how far, how deep we will go. Is it a choice or do we already know? Lines of love on our face can't be replaced. And these lines of love that we speak help us to see how high and how far, how deep we will go. How high and how far, how deep we will go. How high and how far, how deep we will go. Is it a choice or do we already know? How high and how far, how deep we will go. It's a fine line, such a fine line. It's a fine line. These lines of love that we draw.
Yeah, right? So thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's all say that. Thank you. It is time for our celebration of abundance. I like this little quote by Anna Green Taylor. She said this: go toward and give to where your time, your energy, and your love are reciprocated, respected, and celebrated. If you're not having that experience in this room, you need to talk to me. We want to also appreciate our YouTube viewers. Thank you for being with us. Hey, you know, if you guys think, what did she say on Sunday? You can go back out there and go to our YouTube channel and you can see all previous messages. So please be sure and do that. And then if you have a question, email me. Well, you can email me before that too, but that's all right. So I do want to thank our YouTube folks out there and thank you for your ongoing support. We appreciate you. So let's bring those baskets on down here. Take a deep breath. Okay, take another deep breath. How we doing? Did I give you a heavy assignment for the week? No? Okay. All right. I just wanted to check in. All right, together we affirm we are abundance. We align with our good through our gratitude and generosity. Thank you. Go forward, my friends. I want to remind you of a couple of things. This Thursday night, yes, at 6:30 right here at the center, I'm going to start a class, and it will be up to that class how often we meet and how long we meet for. Spiritual Tools for Living. And it'll just kind of be a lot of it's more depth into what you hear on a Sunday. That's really what it's about. And I'm usually pretty, what's the word? I guess flexible when it comes to a classroom because I like it to be about connecting, and I am happy to always, of course, have a syllabus and ready to go, and we will do that. But this really is about you participating and being reminded what spiritual tools you have available to you. Okay? So that's what we're going to do on Thursday. World Day of Prayer, there is an opportunity to sign up there. You can facilitate an hour. It's very easy. How many people participated in World Day of Prayer here? There you go. Was it hard? See, they're still in the room. Nobody went running away with their hair on fire. And so there's opportunity to sign up. And what we will do is we will be here in the sanctuary for 24 hours. And this is World Day of Prayer, sponsored by Unity, the mothership. And that is going to start on Wednesday at 4 p.m., September 11th. We'll be here for 24 hours, and then on Thursday the 12th, and we will be complete by 5 p.m. So plan on attending sometime in that period of time. I will be here all 24 hours. That is my personal practice. And it is, it's cool to be in a space where there is prayer being held for 24 hours, to just sit in the space and feel that healing is a gift. Gary, are you wanting to say something about World Day of Prayer? Gary says the best time to be here is between 2 and 4 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, I'm a captivated audience at that point. At the top of each hour, we read the names of the countries, all the countries on the planet, and that is split between 24 hours. We also will take prayer requests, and you can drop those over here in our prayer box. The first names of those folks will be called out during those different hours. We will also be holding in prayer, of course, our community, our board, etc., our fire department, our police officers, etc., etc. Each one of those are called out during that hour at some point by the facilitator, and you don't have to know any of that because you just come and sit in a chair and it's all right there for you. It really is pretty easy. And of course, I know it's a big surprise, I'll have snacks. All right. And Miss Trina, you want to say something? Look at this hat. Oh, we've got an appearance.
So it's Trina stepped out for a minute. It's Miss Minnie Money from last year's Deadwood Saloon Mystery Dinner Theater. And it's coming up again, and we are not going to be in the Deadwood Saloon this year because there was a murder that took place there, you know. So it could be a dangerous place, but we're thinking we might either be in the Caribbean or we might be at the Big Top. So please vote out in the foyer for which murder mystery you would love to participate in. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Miss Minnie Money. That was Trina's character last year. How many people got to be here last year? Was it fun? Did we have fun? Come on, it was a blast, right? It's a great fundraiser. We have a lot of fun. We just have a few snacks, but it is a murder mystery. And so we just have a lot of fun. So check that out. And I think it's, what is it, $25 a ticket? Is that right? $20 a ticket, $20 a ticket, and that would be, and then we have a discount two for 40. Yeah, and November 1st is the date, right? So, all right. So, my friends, bring those baskets on down here. Thank you, Miss Trina, and thank you, Miss Trina, for being the lead on that. We appreciate that. It's a lot of work. There's some work involved. And I know she's open to having people volunteer to support her around that. So here we go. Let's bless these baskets. Go ahead and stand up, folks. Let's get a stretch in here. Here we go. Can you feel the gratitude? Can you affirm our abundance? Can you see the work that is ours to do? Together we bless these baskets. We say thank you for these gifts. We are grateful. We are abundant. And so it is. I thank everyone that participated in today's service to make this happen. Connect and check in the foyer on the website, in your newsletter. There's a lot going on. Don't miss a thing. And together we affirm. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Create an amazing week, my friends. Happy Labor Day.